All right, let's talk about digital advertising, specifically how to do it in a really high-stakes field, healthcare. We're going to look at how clinics and really any business can stop just throwing money at ads and start making them work a whole lot smarter.
You know, if you run a business, you've definitely asked yourself this question. You're pouring cash into Google Ads, and it can feel like you're just shouting into a hurricane. Are you actually connecting with the right people, or are those ad dollars just vanishing?
Okay, think of it this way. Most advertising is like fishing with a giant net. You just drag it through the ocean, and sure, you catch a lot of stuff. But you also get old boots, seaweed, and a bunch of fish you have to throw back. It's messy and super inefficient. What we're talking about today is switching to fishing with a spear. You see exactly what you want, you aim, and you're precise. No waste.
To really see why this is so important, let's look at a real-world example. Imagine a private dermatology clinic in a big city like London. They're paying for ads to show up anytime someone searches for skin specialist. On the surface, that sounds right, doesn't it? But it's actually a huge problem.
Because who's actually searching for that? Well, your ad might pop up for a student who's just doing research for their biology homework. They have zero intention of booking an appointment, so if they click, that's your money right down the drain.
Or maybe your ad reaches a retiree. Now, they have a real concern, sure, but they're looking for information on the free public health service, not a private clinic. So again, they click and poof, another chunk of your budget is gone.
But then, there's your ideal client. She's searching for something very specific, like a private mole check. She has the need, she has the intent to book, and she has the ability to pay. This is the only person your ad budget should ever be spent on.
And that, right there, is the magic of what we call audience targeting. It's the art of aiming your ad spend laser tight on that ideal client, while, and this is just as important, actively filtering out everybody else.
Now in healthcare, this kind of precision, it isn't just a smart idea. It's absolutely essential. The rules for advertising are way different here, and the stakes are just so much higher. See, Google has a whole rule book just for healthcare. You're not allowed to mention specific treatments like Botox in your ads. For a lot of services, you can't even retarget people who visited your website. You have to slap disclaimers on everything, and if you mess up, you could get your ads disapproved or even your whole account shut down. So you really have to get it right from the very first click. So, how do we actually do it? How do we fish with that spear? Let's get into it. Here are 5 powerful strategies to make your ads incredibly efficient.
Strategy number 1, get specific about life stage and affordability. Look, not every click is a good click, especially when you're talking about private healthcare. You have to focus on people who can actually afford your services and are at a point in their life where they actually need them.
This is the kind of detail I'm talking about. You're not just targeting women. No way. You're targeting women in a specific 15-year age range who live in an affluent part of the city and are in the top tier of household income. This is how you filter out the low-intent clicks before you ever spend a dime.
Okay, strategy number 2 is all about subtraction. It's about deciding who you do not want to show your ads to. And honestly, this can be just as powerful as deciding who you do want to target. Here's a perfect, no-brainer example. Someone who lands on your careers page is looking for a job, not an appointment, right? So you simply add them to an exclusion list. Just like that, you stop wasting money on clicks that are guaranteed to never, ever convert into a patient. Now for strategy number 3, we get a little more sophisticated. We're going to layer different signals together. We combine what someone is searching for right now with who they are based on their general interests. This right here is a fantastic example of layering. You've got that strong search intent. Someone is actively looking for a private GP. That's great. But then you layer on top of that an audience that's shown a consistent interest in health and wellness content. When you combine those two things, you get a much more qualified, high-intent person seeing your ad.
Strategy 4 takes us beyond just the ad. Because listen, getting the perfect person to click is only half the battle. What happens after they click is absolutely crucial.
This is such a common and costly mistake. Don't spend all this effort targeting the perfect person and then just dump them on your generic homepage. If your ad promises a specific service in a specific location, the page they land on has to deliver on that promise instantly. A relevant page builds trust and gets you the conversion. A generic page just creates confusion and completely wastes that expensive click.
And our final strategy is all about ongoing maintenance. It's like tending a garden.
even if you set everything up perfectly, you've got to stay vigilant, because Google will still find weird ways to show your ads.
And the search terms report is your best friend for this. It literally shows you the exact phrases people typed that triggered your ad. This is where you find all the budget draining nonsense, searches with words like free or NHS, and you add them to your negative keyword list. It's how you keep your spear sharp week after week.
So all these strategies sound great, right? But they all depend on having a really strong technical foundation. You've got to have the right plumbing set up behind the scenes to make any of this work.
There are 4 big keys here. First, SEO and SEM synergy. That just means your ad and your landing page are perfectly aligned. Second, schema markup. Think of this as invisible labels you add to your website's code that basically give Google a cheat sheet about your services. Third, CRM and conversion tracking. This is huge. It tracks actual bookings, not just clicks, which teaches Google's AI what a real success looks like. And finally, using GA4 audiences lets you group visitors by what they do on your site, which lets you create these super specific lists for targeting or, just as importantly, for excluding.
Okay, let's zoom back out. We've been using a clinic as our main example, but the core idea here, it's universal. It applies to pretty much any business running ads today. It's all about being smarter, not just trying to be louder than everyone else. And here is exactly why this is so critical. For one of these private clinics, a single lead, just one person filling out a form, can cost anywhere from £7 to £75. At those prices, you literally cannot afford to waste a single click. Efficiency isn't a nice-to-have, it's everything. When you make this shift to a spear phishing approach, the benefits are crystal clear. You slash your wasted budget, you dramatically improve the quality of your leads, and you start building a reputation for being relevant and trustworthy.
So that leaves us with one last thing to think about. Is your marketing right now a megaphone, just shouting at everyone in the crowd and hoping anybody listens? Or is it a magnet, precisely and efficiently pulling in only your perfect customers? The choice could literally save you thousands.